Welcome back to Mile and Me. I'm thinking of doing a video with like outtakes and bloopers and things like that because the time has taken me to do this video. I got a little bit of MS cog fog today, so nothing's going right. But I think, right, I'm doing this for now. This is the last take. I'm not editing anymore. This is it, okay? So let's get into it. And I want to talk about our independence as MS sufferers today. As you know, I got SPMS. I got diagnosed 6 years ago, relapsing remitting. I probably had it for a bit of 10 years before that. It's just, I completely got let down really by the medical profession. So I couldn't have disease modifying therapies because there was none there for me because it was the wrong kind of MS apparently. But that's for another video. Let's just talk about what people don't talk about really is independence and what's going to happen to you or might happen to you. I should rephrase that really, shouldn't I? I'd edit it out, but I'm not editing anymore. This is just a straight one, right? It's potential. Things could happen to you. No one talks about what potentially could happen to you. Everybody's worried about what could, but no one talks of the potential of what could happen to you and how to sort of prepare yourself. And if it doesn't happen to you, wicked. Brilliant, isn't it? You know, if you don't end up in a wheelchair, ace. If you don't end up with bad nerve pain, brilliant. But it's nice to have a little backup plan, isn't it? Just to sort of have in your back pocket, in your toolkit, which we've spoken about before, that you can use. Okay, so I just want to talk about this is a personal experience of losing my independence and how quick my progression happened with my legs, really. I want to talk about that because there's quite a stigma for people using a wheelchair, and I know people don't like going out. You kind of lose your dignity, you lose your confidence, you lose your identity, you know, by using mobility aids. But you just got to adapt to it, and it's like worrying, isn't it? You know, you're out and you think, what are people thinking of me? Yeah? You know, I'm out with my kids, I'm out with my wife in a wheelchair, and it's just like you think, what are people going to think about me? But let's be fair. No one thinks anything. You've got to get out there. You've got to get out and enjoy yourself. If you think, right, when I get to this stage of MS, I'm going to be fine and I can do it then. But no, because if you keep waiting for the next stage of MS, you're not going to live. You're not going to do anything. You're not going to enjoy yourself. So this is one, the saying, get what you think you need, put it in your back pocket, and one day you might need it. Okay, so when my MS probably kicked in, when I first thought I need a wheelchair, it was kind of, used to go to the shop in the car. I was lazy and drive anyway. Used to get in the car, literally jump in the car, didn't you? Part and WL lines, jump out of the car quickly, run into the shop, get what you need doing, and then you're done, right? But now it's completely different. I've got a plan if I'm going to go to the shop. Is my wheelchair charged? And we're going to walk to the actual car. Where can I, where am I going to be at a park? Is it a curb? You know, it's just so many different things you've got to think about. Are the aisles big enough in the shop? Well, it's just, you know, I just didn't realise that one day things which you didn't even notice going to become obstacles. Or worse, reasons to not leave the house, which, to be fair, it happened to me. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It did happen to me. And you don't really notice your independence slipping away at first. You just don't realize. You just think, right, I'm not doing that because of this. You know, it's like a quiet, gradual sort of demise, if you like. One day it's you've got a cane. So you're walking around with a cane. And it's a wheelchair. And I'm asking someone to push me up a hill because I can't get up the hill. In my wheelchair, not just pushing me, just on the floor, just sort of rolling me up the hill. You know, hence why I lost a little bit of weight. I was way overweight. And my wife's trying to push me up a hill in a wheelchair. And you're like, it just makes you feel so bad. I'm like, it's easier if I don't come, isn't it? And my wife's like, well, no, we want you here. I don't mind pushing you up the hill. We'll make a laugh out of it. So for me was that, you know, the real sort of punch in the stomach, if you like, came the day I wanted to go somewhere, and I couldn't. I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. I didn't have the energy to lift my wheelchair into the car. It wasn't because I was tired. It wasn't because I was in pain. It was because I couldn't get out there on my own. And I thought, I can't go anymore. I used to like going out looking for wildlife. I used to love bird watching, things like that. And, I'd just go off the beaten track and go and sort of walk around trees, see what animals I could see, what birds I could see, because I see something, but I can't do that anymore. And I can remember I was like sitting, just looking at the front door, no energy at all. There was no one here, no one to help me. And I was thinking, I don't want to go out on my own. If no one comes in me, I'm stuck, and there's too many unknowns in the big world out there if I go out. And that moment was a loss of control, really. And it's harder than any symptom. You can kind of get over your symptoms, take painkillers, you take things, you can massage your leg if you've got to. There's lots of things you can do to sort of manage the symptoms. But that, not wanting to go out of the house, it's not just about movement, it's about your freedom. You're outside and you can't walk and you're worried you're going to fall over. It's just, it's just such a hard thing to it's a hurdle to get over. But no one talks about that. No one talks about when you're first diagnosed, do they? No one says, this is what could happen. Let's have a chat about it for a couple of hours. No one sits you down and talks to you, do they? When people think of disability, they picture wheelchairs, don't they? MS disability, you think wheelchairs, maybe crutches, sticks. That's what you picture, but people tend to just block it off. Oh, it's not going to happen to me, it's fine. But then when you get to it and it does, then you've got nowhere to go. And you sit looking at that front door thinking, I can't go anywhere. And then you get the guilt then of constantly asking for help. Like, I asked my daughter to put the bins out because I can't physically do it anymore. So put the bins out for me. And she looks at me like, why, Dad? Why are you making me do this? But I can't do it. So she does in the end. But it's like when you ask a teenager to do something. It's a bit of a nightmare, isn't it? And then you get the anxiety of being a burden. You feel like you're a burden. The awkwardness then of being like stared at and like someone's pushing your wheelchair and you just don't know where to look, do you? And this has never really happened to me, but I'm kind of up for it, just waiting for it to happen. People say things like, but at least you're getting out, or you're lucky to have somebody who can, help you, and you don't look that disabled. And you're like, yeah, people, as a touch wood, people haven't really said anything to me, but I'm prepared for it because that's what we do. We prepare for eventualities. If it doesn't happen, happy days. I'm not saying overthink things and think what if. Just plan what you think might happen to you. If, for instance, you're dragging your foot a little bit and you think, is this going to get worse? What can I do? What can I do? How do I try and, adapt to it? So a lot of the time when I was out and about, I was paranoid, but now I just have a laugh. I don't realize, like, my family and friends, they just banter continuously, and it's the way I get over it. It's like, oh, I'll let you go down the hill if you want. You won't have no brakes and things like that in your wheelchair, and you just all have a bit of a laugh about it. And here's where it sort of shifts, and here's what I want anyone to, who's newly diagnosed, to know: that losing your old version of independence, it doesn't mean you've lost everything. It means that you're putting building blocks into make yourself feel better and do stuff more. It just means you have to sort of redefine it, really. Redefine the way you're going to be. I use a wheelchair now. There's lots of other people that use wheelchairs in this world. But using it gives me freedom. It gets me outside. It's not too good in this weather. It's boiling, but it gets me out, give me a bit of fresh air. As the video I did the other day was out and about, and I plan things in advance now, which I didn't have to. And you plan it, but some plans just don't work. But at least you're planning it. At least you're thinking ahead. At least you're trying to help yourself a little bit more. I've tried to stop asking for help as seen as a weakness. It's one of those. It's a stigma in it. You're quite an active man. You've done a lot for yourself. You've had an active job, and then all of a sudden you're asking for like someone to go and get something out of the fridge for you, or would I want to be fully independent again? Of course I would. But I'd rather do life my way than not do life at all. Not get out there, have a stigma. Just plan for everything. And go out there and just live life. You might not be able to walk, and it is one of those things which you worry about the most, I think, is it? It was for me anyway. When I was diagnosed, it was losing my legs, and the worst has happened, and you just got to go with it. I'm still figuring all this out. I haven't got a clue what is gonna happen. Some days I absolutely nail it. I'm like, this is great. I can do this. And then some days I go out, I feel like crying because I can't do something simple. Like get out of bed, or pick my wheelchair up to put it in the car. Just things like that. And I've got to ask for help. And you're just like, yesterday I could do that. But what I've learned is my independence is not gone at all. It's not gone. It's just different. My worth isn't tied to how many things I can do alone anymore. And I've got to lean on others, but it doesn't make me a burden, even though you feel that you are. It just makes you human. We've all got our quirks about us. People they'll have their own issues, whether it's mental health. If somebody wanted to speak to you about their mental health, you wouldn't think it were a burden, would you? You'd be like, no, let's have a cup, let's have a chat. Because that's what you do. That's what you would do. Because you can do that. Might be in a wheelchair, but at least you can talk to somebody about their mental health if they want to talk to you. You wouldn't think, oh, he's a burden, him. Or she's doing my head in with mental health. You wouldn't think that, would you? Or if one of your kids cut themselves, you wouldn't say, oh, just you'd be like, you dress it, wouldn't you? Put a plaster on it, clean it. You just wouldn't leave it as it is. So never feel a burden. And if this video has resonated with you, I hope I've explained it well enough for you. If I haven't, put in the comments. If there's any feedback or anything like that, then put it in the comments. If I can help with anything, just give us a shout. Share your experiences. Let's talk about the messy parts of this disease too. The things which nobody else talks about. Not just sort of things you can put on Instagram as a quick fix. See, this is life, isn't it? It's what people don't talk about. And I hope this has resonated to you, and I hope it's hit home to you to think, I'm taking control of it. I'm going to look at things which potentially might happen without overthinking stuff. That's a completely different video. That don't overthink things. We'll go through that one, but just think about what is going to be your worst, and then we'll work backwards. Okay. Having MS is still living, even if we do it sitting down. Okay. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll speak to you all on the next one. I know this is a bit of a wishy-washy video, but hopefully my point has got across, and it helped somebody out there today. See you soon.